we're checking out the Amp Research Power Step running boards with plug-and-play setup for the 2018 through 2024 6.7 liter Ram 2500 Mega Cabs. These running boards are going to be an excellent option for Ram 2500 owners looking for an innovative motorized step system that makes getting in and out of the truck effortless while maintaining the sleek appearance of their body lines. The Amp Research Power Step running boards offer unmatched functionality with their automatic deployment and retraction. When you open your truck doors, the boards extend out to provide a sturdy stepping surface, and when you close your doors, they seamlessly retract back in, preserving your clean lines of your Ram. So they're there when you need them and tucked out of sight when you don't. So you're not compromising ground clearance, but you are getting easier access to the cab. Each board is made from lightweight yet high strength die-cast aluminum, with a texture black powder coat finish for durability and corrosion resistance. With a load capacity of 600 pounds per side, these steps are built to handle heavy-duty use. Also, they feature waterproof motors and sealed electronics, ensuring reliable performance in harsh conditions. A standout feature is going to be the integrated LED lighting, which is going to illuminate these steps for safe access at night. The plug-and-play setup simplifies installation, requiring no wire splicing, and ensures compatibility with your truck's electrical system. There are well over 100 positive reviews of these on the website, so I would encourage you to go check out those reviews, see the customer submitted images, and see what they're gonna look like on your truck, as well as seeing what those LEDs look like when they're gonna light up the step for you. These running boards are constructed from high-grade die-cast aluminum alloy, like I mentioned earlier, providing strength without adding unnecessary weight. They include stainless steel pivot pins for smooth operation and weather-sealed motors for longevity. This textured black powder coat finish adds durability and style with a non-slip surface. As far as pricing goes on this, it's coming in right around that $1,900 price range. So with the automatic function and durable aluminum construction, it justifies the price point for those seeking convenience and style. Installation of these running boards is going to be straightforward thanks to the plug-and-play harness, but it does earn a 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter, requiring about 3 hours to complete the job, and everything you're going to need for the installation, including mounting hardware and step-by-step instructions, is going to be included in the kit. Now, let's see exactly how this goes on with an install video from one of our American Trucks customers.
Here's some of the tools you're going to need. A couple different style crimpers. This one is for the red, blue, and yellow butt connectors. The white ones, you need a smaller one here. Depending on what you have, you can also use these little crimpy parts here in this wire stripper. You're going to need a wire stripper, panel popper, snap punch or a normal punch and a hammer, a heat gun. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver, a rivet gun with the different fittings. Most of them, when you buy them, they come with 4 different fittings. You're going to need a ratchet, a 9/16 box wrench, 13mm box wrench, a T27 Torx bit, T25 Torx bit, and a 3/16 Allen key. You're gonna need some grease for the nutserts, little baby flathead for the star connector, some more zip ties. They give you some, but you might need more. 1/8" drill bit, 3/16 drill bit, 10mm socket, 13mm socket, both a shallow and a deep socket, some diagonal cutters, a rubber mallet or one of these dead glow style rubber mallets. Either one will work. Flashlight of some sort, a digital multimeter for doing troubleshooting, a right angle drill, tape measure. You're going to need some wire and some sort of drill if you want to make your life a little faster, but doing it by hand is the safest way. To install these rib nuts, they come with a little kit you're going to use, little adapters. So you grab the rib nut, this little hex, you're going to put that like so. Then there's a washer, put that there. And you're going to use lubrication on these threads and on the bolt head here, and you're going to put this on. When you get this far, obviously this is put into the vehicle, you're going to use a 9/16 wrench to hold that steady while you're holding that steady, you're going to take a 13 millimeter and you're going to tighten down this center bolt, which then will crush this piece, and this will be stuck in the truck. Once you get it seated all the way, then all you do is undo this bolt, and this will be stuck in the vehicle. This area here with the two hex holes in the oval is where this will end up going in. We need to get a hole drilled to rivet this piece in. So to make sure it's lined up, you take two of the riv nuts. We're gonna put it in like this. Once it's in like this, you take a snap punch and we're gonna mark this. Then we can pull this off. We have a mark here that we're gonna use an 1/8 inch drill bit and drill out, and that will facilitate us using the rivet gun. You're gonna need some type of rivet gun here. You need to make sure you put in the fitting that says 1/8 of an inch, and that is what these are. And then it should just slide into the hole like so, and then it'll work. I didn't have any baling wire around my shop, so I have these little zip ties. So I'm gonna use this, because if you drop this inside the hole, you're never gonna get it back. So you have to make sure you can retain control of it while you're putting this thing together. So yeah, I just stuck it through the little hole on top, tied it up, so now I can grab onto this to slide this into the rocker panel. Grab this plate, you're gonna hold it by the strap, you're gonna slide it in like that, you're gonna shimmy it over slowly, you're gonna line up the holes, put the rivet through, and you're gonna have to find out where the hole is. So you're gonna have to play around, move it around until you get this lined up with here. Then you just squeeze the tool and the rivet will be installed. I put two flatheads in here to pull the plate against this rocker panel in order to get this rivet to even line up correctly. And now we're gonna hold the pressure to keep this plate close to the rocker panel metal and use the rivet gun to install the rivet. Mine was installed ever so slightly off to the right a little bit, so I got this one in first. Then I'm gonna take this rubber mallet and I'm gonna tap this in, make sure that the hex part of it is already lined up with the hex hole, so when you hit it in, it doesn't actually mess anything up. Now I can tap this side in with this one as well. I'm using this STP grease, it's a moly grease, to put on the threads and the bolt for these riv nuts. As you can see, I have some on the threads, on the washer, both sides of the washer. So now this should all move freely and help install it nice and easy. Grab this contraption that we made over on the bench. We're now going to screw it in by hand till it gets tight. Grab your 9/16 here. We're going to hold it like so. I'm using my impact to tighten it. Push against it so that it gets the riv nut as far in as possible, and then we're going to tighten it down. Hold this centerpiece with a 9/16, then grab a 13 millimeter, and we're going to just keep going until it's nice and snug. And when it's tight, there should be no wiggle here, so it's installed. Now we're going to hold the center and we're going to remove it. Once you get it loose, it should just come out easily. Before moving to the next one, we want to re-lube this all with brand new grease. On the second one, we're going to do the same exact thing. Make sure to push hard against the body and start tightening. I like starting it with that so I don't have to do too much by hand, and then I'm going to finish tightening it by hand. Now remove it, and and this is 1 of 4 complete. We're gonna repeat the steps for the front driver side and both passenger side. And at the end, it'll look like this. You can leave the glow-in-the-dark zip tie if you want. When you're trying to figure out what plate goes where, it's pretty easy. You look at the back side. See, that one looks like it has a little bridge. And then this one has totally different design on the back. So this design is the front body mount. So this will go on the front on both sides of the vehicle. This one here is the back design. This will go on the back of the driver and passenger side. We're going to take 2 of these with a 13mm socket and ratchet. We're going to install this into that plate we just installed on both sides. When installing the rear, it's offset. So the front one's easy. Just 2 holes centered of the bracket here. No problem. So don't worry about that. The back one has 3 holes, and this is off-centered. So you're always going to use the center one. And then on the driver's side, you're going to use this one and this one, which is actually by the back wheels over here. So it's a center one and this one. On the passenger side, you're going to flip it. So the wheel's going to be over here, the rear wheel. And then this is front of vehicle. And you're going to use these 2 holes. But you're always going to use the center. Put the rear bracket on the driver's side in. It'll look like this. 13mm with the washer. Put those in hand tight. Grab the Torx bit ones here and the washers. Put those in hand tight. Now we're going to tighten these 2 down to 6 foot-pounds first. Then we're going to tighten these to 16 foot-pounds. Then they give you this spacer, which takes up the space from this lip if you don't have the bracket. So what I'm going to do is mount it this way. I'm just going to pre-rivet this stuff on the bench from the back side. So I'm going to mount it this way. I'm going to rivet this in, and then this will be nice and flush. Then this one will just be not installed. I will mount the bracket and everything. Stick the drill bit through here, drill into the body of the vehicle. Then I'll put this in and install this so it would actually get installed into the body of the truck. Grab your rivet gun again with the 3/16 tip so that this actually fits like so. And then we're going to install the forwardmost one from the nice shiny side. We're going to install it that way and let it hang out this side. We have that installed, so nice and flush here, because this is what touches the body. This one can spin easily and be removed. Now I'm going to go mount this against the truck, and we will go ahead and drill out the truck, and then we'll install this one this way. Get yourself a right-angled drill with a 3/16 bit, and we're going to drill out that one spot so that we can put the rivet in. Because of this frame mount, we can't actually get a drill in to insert that one, or drill it in order to install it from the front facing way. Since this is in the way, there's no way to get a drill to drill that way to then install it, so it's kind of impossible to even drill that hole. But on this side we have enough room, so that's why I did it like this. Mounted that one from the back, and we're going to drill right now with the 3/16 and install the rivet on the back side. It's all drilled out, so now we can push it in like so, and then we're going to get our rivet gun and pop that. Under the vehicle, this is the back mount, and under the vehicle you're going to put this like so when you're mounting it. So these are going to be the rear, these are going to be the non-motorized versions, and you're going to use 4 of these, 2 on top, and then 2 on the sides, like so. This is all you got to do to mount the linkage to the rear mount. You're only ever going to use 3 of these bolts. You're always going to use these bottom 2. These top 2, you're only going to use the one that lines up with the hole in the body. If you try to use both, it will end up, this will push on the body and it will push this whole thing away. So you're only going to use one of the top here. For the fronts, it's not that complicated because you only have one in the top, in the middle, 1 and 1. So there's only 3. Same thing on the rear though, except because they're offset. Remember how this plate was offset here? Since these are offset, this is also going to be offset. So you're only going to use the one that's offset into the hole. So the hole will be here, or the hole will be here. I'm going to drill 2 holes for these rivets that go on top. So you're going to use the same drill. This one here, you're going to drill these 2 holes out with all this mounted, and then you're just going to pop rivet them in. So you put it in, give it a nice push. Got both of these pushed in. Now we're just going to install them. Push down, squeeze. Here you can tell which bolt hole you're going to use. You have this one and this one that mount this. So it's the one in between in a triangle. So we're going to use that one, this one, here, and this one. And that's what we're going to use right now to mount the linkage. So you can leave one installed, so you slide it in. Get the other one started by hand. Now we're going to tighten these down to the same 16 foot-pounds. It's pretty sturdy. It doesn't move. 1 down, 4 to go. This is the driver's side rear installed. That's how it should look. And that's what it'll be once it's up. So make sure it goes nice and smooth. If yours doesn't, call the manufacturer, see if there's any issues with yours. Once again, this points towards the inside, the center of the vehicle. So the front one is also going to point this way, so they should point at each other. Now we're on the driver front, and because of this motor, there's not a big gap here. So what we need to do is start this one here, then we slide it in and lift it up. And then once it's lifted up, we can grab another bolt and start the next hole on the other side. Now the pedal stays up by itself because you have the 2 bottom ones in. Then you have to reach up and over and start the top one by hand. And the only way I'm feeling that we're going to be able to tighten this top one is with a ratcheting wrench or just a box wrench, either one. I don't think I'm going to be able to get any kind of tool in there. The top one you can get to with a deep socket and an extension, or a short socket and a bigger extension. And the one over here you can also get to with a wrench and extension. Problem is, this one you're gonna have to have a box wrench. So I'm gonna go grab a box wrench right now, use the open-ended side, and tighten this one down. This is just a little warning. Make sure as you're tightening them all down, you start with this one. Otherwise, as you tighten the other 2, this bolt will just push into this plastic housing, and you don't want to break it. So just as you're tightening it down, put this one tight first, then do the rest. To install this side step onto the linkages, you're going to need a 3/16 Allen key or socket style Allen key for this hardware that will then screw into this on the step. This part of the job is a 2-person job. Set it center and then slide over these aluminum pieces that are threaded to where it lines up pretty much with this pocket here. And then we're gonna take two people. One person's gonna hold one edge while the other person lines up and hand threads in two of these into this aluminum piece from underneath. And you're just gonna get it in 2 or 3 threads, because then we gotta go to the other side and make sure that this is lined up and get the other two threaded in 2 or 3 threads. These are the 2 holes you're gonna line up with the aluminum piece, and you're gonna have to put your head directly underneath in order to make sure they're lined up to even get the bolts started. You need to get underneath, line it up slightly, and then you're gonna thread it in by hand as the person on the other side does nothing. And then get this and this one in. That's as far as you gotta get it. Then just bring it over so you have a little gap. Use a flathead screwdriver, and you're going to move that little aluminum block until the holes line up. And now you're gonna take the tool, screw in the screws, 2 of them, just 1 or 2 threads. It's now time to tighten these up. There's grooves on here, and then there's a groove over here that fits into this. So this has a little lip that fits in this groove, and then it fits here. So we're just gonna run it down a little bit. We still wanna be able to move because we're gonna adjust the front to back location of this running board, but we want it to sit better. So we're gonna just go back and forth, couple turns, couple turns, couple turns, and then you want this to sort of seat on its own. So you're going to wiggle this, give it a little tap like that, and that puts you pretty much where it needs to be installed as far as the grooves are concerned. These grooves actually help a lot with rigidity once it's all tightened down, because this thing can't flex up and down once it's locked into the grooves. When you finish screwing it in, it should be seated like that on the linkage. This little groove should be tongued in like so. About the star connector, you actually want to use the double row shorter section, which is closer to the driver, so farther towards the back of the vehicle. The way I have this spaced out is 1.5 inches from here to the edge of the plastic. To install the LEDs, you're going to need a snap punch to mark where you're going to drill the hole. Then you're going to drill the hole with a 9/32 drill bit. That allows you to put in these grommets. You have 1 grommet per LED, and the wires slip through. You're obviously then going to need wire strippers. Before all that, you're going to need a tape measure to figure out where you're going to put the hole so they match on both sides of the vehicle. The crimp butt connectors come with the kit. I just have these here for reference. We have the crimpers here that we use. And then you're also going to need the heat gun. Starting from the wheel well, you have that plastic. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 plastic nubbins. We're going dead center between plastic nubbin 3 and 4. Gonna put it right here. So I'm gonna mark with my snap punch on this portion and drill through higher up, like right about there. I'll show you what it looks like, but just for reference. So I'm gonna measure between these two, and I'm gonna put the hole here for the grommet. You can see my mark here. It's 3.5 inches. This is 7 inches from here to here. 3.5 inches. And we want to put the hole between the radius. So the radius is up here, and this spot weld. So pretty much right at the top of the spot welds where you're going to drill it. That'll allow you to get the grommet fully seated, and the wire won't be bent crazy trying to get it in. So it'll pretty much be stuck, and it'll slide right through, and it'll sit perfectly flush like that. Take this little grommet now. We're gonna paint with a little touch-up paint. We're gonna paint this metal so it doesn't rust. Take your grommet, you're gonna squish it a little bit, feed it in, and then with a baby flathead or something, I'm using the snap punch, it'll work fine. You feed it in, and once you feed it in, you're gonna verify that the rubber is in all the way and it's covering the back side the same way it's covering the front side. So you're just gonna have to play with it. It's almost through. So we'll probably have to use the flathead from the back side to pull it out. But you want this rubber to be nice and circular on the front as well as on the back side. We have the grommet in, looking good. We're gonna give this a nice little push. Once you get it through with one hand, we're gonna tug on the other side with the other hand, and we're gonna shimmy this in. Do not take this off until the very end. We're gonna use isopropyl alcohol, and we're gonna wipe down this area with a clean towel. Make sure it's 100% dry, no finger oils, no oils from anything, no grime from the road, nothing. It's now time to connect these wires to the back side of the LED here. We're gonna crimp it and then use the heat gun to shrink the heat shrink part of this so it seals it from the elements, weather, salt, snow, the whole nine. Going from the back now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So between 4 and 5, dead center is where we're putting it. Here's the wire right under here. This is gonna be great. Use some rubbing alcohol on a rag, and we're gonna wipe this really nice and let it dry off before we try to stick the two-way sticky tape to this flat area. Just blow it off if you have to. You want this plastic edge at the plastic edge here before it bends to go up. Then you want to not touch this sticky tape with your fingers, like so. Line it up there, and then push and hold. You want to push and hold for about 30 seconds, and it should be stuck really nicely. The LEDs are mounted and they're working. Now it's time to use the heat gun and shrink this. You want to make sure there's no more gap, there's no air bubbles, because if there's a gap or air bubbles, it will leak and you will get corrosion, and then your LEDs will stop working. Here's the wiring harness. We're gonna start at the motor. I'm gonna show you how I tied up the harness. Comes across to the emergency brake. I have it tied up. If you're using the emergency brake, make sure you use the black area, not the silver area. It comes down, goes to the grommet, to that light, goes back up, goes behind and up and over this body mount, up and over this body mount, and then it comes down to this LED. I'm gonna go, the kit, I wish the kit came with those little square two-way sticky zip tie holder mounts, so I'm gonna go to Ace Hardware, pick up some of those, clean this area with alcohol, make sure it's nice and fresh, and then I can bend this over and zip tie it to the two-way sticky mount.
All right, that's gonna wrap up our review and install of the Amp Research PowerStep running boards with plug-and-play setup for the 2018 through 2024 6.7 liter Ram 2500 mega cabs. And for all things Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.